Today, I'm talking about Sleepers, a 1996 crime drama directed by Barry Levinson, starring Robert De Niro, Kevin Bacon, and Brad Pitt. After a prank goes wrong, 4 young boys are sent to juvenile detention where they are brutally tortured by guards, but years later, following their dreadful past, seek revenge against those who've wronged them. For years, I've heard great things about this movie, but not by anybody in the media or on YouTube, just through word of mouth from a couple of friends. They told me that Sleepers is a great movie. They highly recommend it. Then I checked out the cast and I saw how stacked this cast is. And I cannot believe to this day, barely anybody that I know outside of a few friends have talked about Sleepers. This is one of the most underrated, overlooked movies of the last 4 decades. It blows my mind that a movie with such a great story has basically gone unrecognized in the 21st century. I'm not making this up. Most people I know have never heard of Sleepers, when in reality, this should be one of Robert De Niro's most popular movies. What makes it great from the beginning, despite starting a little slow, is the setup. You'll learn a lot about this friend group in the opening 20 minutes. These 4 boys who have bad home lives in the city of New York. They live in Hell's Kitchen. They don't have good home lives, so when they're together, it's an escape from reality. Sometimes they do pretty bad things that normal 5th graders would never think to do, because that's the type of characters we're dealing with in Sleepers. These aren't ordinary 21st century boys that we're dealing with. These kids dealt with a lot of hardships growing up, and so when they make questionable decisions, you understand it because of their backstories. But there's no denying that once you get to about the midway point in Sleepers, it becomes easily one of the most painful movies you'll ever have to sit through. And it's insane to think that people could have such a twisted mind. These guards do some unthinkable things to these boys in this juvenile detention. It's truly disgusting. Luckily, the movie keeps the cinematography to a minimum when these acts are happening, but it's even just hard to watch because of the screams, and you just can feel what these boys are going through because the movie conveys their emotions so well. The performances are immaculate too. Kevin Bacon disappears in his character in Sleepers. Take the Kevin Bacon that you know, that you've seen in movies, throw that out the window. This is a completely different Kevin Bacon, one that you probably would never want to meet in real life because this man is terrible. He plays one of the worst characters I've ever seen portrayed on screen. This guy is awful. One of the worst human beings to ever walk the earth. And Kevin Bacon makes us hate this character, and rightfully so. He commits some truly horrific acts. Everyone else from top to bottom in Sleepers as well is incredible. Robert De Niro gives an outstanding performance. Dustin Hoffman, for the minimum amount of time he's in the movie, is really good. I also love Brad Pitt as usual. Jason Patric, who I've never seen before in a movie, stole the show. I thought he was excellent. And the 4 boys as well were all really good. I love the kind of movies too that focus on more than just one part of a person's life. In this movie, we see not only them as kids, these 4 boys, but also them when they get into adulthood in their 20s, and how what happened to them in the past still affects them in the future. These guys are clearly all still suffering from PTSD, and the only thing that's on their mind is revenge. By doing this, you get to see 2 different perspectives, one from the younger side of things and one from the older side of things. Like, have you ever watched a movie and wondered, after something significant happens in a character's life, what their life is like 10 to 15 years later? Well, this movie does exactly that. We don't just end at their childhood. We get to see how the events that occurred 13 years ago still affect them to this day. It doesn't just end at their childhood, and that's the movie. So Sleepers has a top-tier cast with all-around amazing performances. The story is phenomenal. There's tons of tension and satisfying sequences, and even though the movie itself is not one of the easiest watches you'll ever endure. It's certainly one worth it. My only issue with the movie is that the first 20 minutes and the final 10 take a while to get going and take longer than necessary to end. I don't necessarily mind the finale of Sleepers, but there could have been one final emotional punch just added in there in the final bit to give us a little something more. But I'm not complaining. I think this is a stellar movie, and I am giving Sleepers an 85%. Alright, for those of you who have also seen Sleepers, what are your thoughts on it? I just watched it for the first time this month, and I loved it. I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever heard of this movie? If you haven't, what are you doing? Go watch it right now. It's on HBO Max. And of course, as always, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.